I'm Meg from What's Your Language, and I'm actually here to have a conversation with you guys about something that I've been asked for a lot lately. So, you may have seen on my Instagram page or on Facebook, or maybe even on these YouTube videos, that I've been running a lot of nervous system reset workshops lately. Over the last year and a half, I've been delivering nervous system reset workshops anywhere from kids to teenagers and to adults. And even specifically for men in relation to trauma and emotions. Now, heaps of people have asked me, when are you doing one online? And because I've been doing them sort of over Newcastle and also just across a few regions in New South Wales, I haven't actually offered one online as yet, but the day has come, so I have decided to run an online, I'm sorry for my dog's butt, an online nervous system reset workshop called Living in the Red Zone. Now, this is actually the title of my third book, which I haven't even told anybody about yet, but sharing tools on how we can recognize how our nervous system starts to shift from a place of safety, our social engagement state, which physically looks like this: shoulders back, heart open, and face soft. And of course, this is what we see and experience in the body. And a feeling of feeling safe and feeling present, the place where we can make good decisions, the place where our digestive system works, the place where we can access our prefrontal cortex, to recognize when we shift from that down into our spinal sympathetic state, our orange zone, which is also known as fight flight. Of course, this may resonate. The trapezius and SCM muscle are activated, the heart is closed, and this is what we experience in the body. Or down into our dorsal vagal circuit, which is known as freeze, which is dissociated, numb, right? And we actually move into shutdown. This state is pure exhaustion and overwhelm. We dissociate and switch off, and so does many things in our body. So in these workshops, I go through specific ways in which we can recognize what particular state we are actually in. Now, none of these states are bad, right? Our spinal sympathetic state or fight flight is not bad, and our dorsal vagal circuit is not bad. They are necessary states that are needed for certain times in our life, right? There are times when we are going to need to be reactive. We're going to need to rescue a kid running across the road, or we might need to get a job done on time. We might need to, react quickly if we are driving in a car and we need to avoid a car accident, so to speak. And the same with our dorsal vagal circuit. It is designed to protect us if we are in a state where we actually cannot fight or flee from a certain situation. And that obviously involves things like trauma and big accidents. So say if we are in a car accident and we can't get out of it, our body will drop down into this shutdown state. But the thing is, unfortunately, in the world we're living in these days, many people, including our teenagers, are actually living in chronic fight flight or down into their red zone, into freeze. Now, I was one of those people. For many years, I went through disordered eating for nearly 30 years. I actually lived in a state of freeze. I was shut down, unresponsive, I was numb, and I lived in deep trauma, right? I held on to two specific traumas. I mean, there was plenty actually that I went through, and many of us do go through, but I literally suppressed them down and I pushed them down for a lot of my life. And therefore, physiologically, my body was living like it was still living within this trauma. So when we can understand these states, we can then do something about it, because it actually looks a certain way. There are things that go on with our digestive system. We are not able to access new neural pathways if we are living in chronic fight flight or down into shutdown, which means that we are unable to change our dialogue. Hence why I stayed there for nearly 3 decades. I simply didn't have the tools to recognize what state I was in. So in the online workshop, it's probably about an hour and a half or so, what we will experience is what it looks like, what it sounds like, what it feels like, but also what world we see. And by having these tools, we can actually physically see it, feel it, and experience it in our bodies. And that then gives us the ability to change it. Presence is key. In my book, What's Your Language, I talk on a method called the Be Here method, right? And the first 3 steps of that method is I see you body, I feel your emotion, and what is it that my heart needs. Now, to actually recognize what we're seeing, it actually means we need to slow down a little bit. In the world we're living in these days, we have so much coming at us that our brains cannot handle or process the speed of information that is coming in from big tech. Right? And they are doing this for a reason, to actually keep us distracted and to take our attention away from our intention, right? This is so we are actually keeping ourselves sick, right? And we know this, we're all experience it. Not only the kids that I speak to in schools are saying they can't concentrate, they can't sleep, they can't make decisions, and they're numb, they nothing shocks them anymore, right? There is that they feel like there is no desire to move forward, to no goal, no nothing, because there is too much coming in. Our job, and this is what I want to talk about in these nervous systems, it's not about what we can add in to our days, what we need to practice, what we need to do, but more so what can we take away, right? I do a technique where we actually go through writing down what takes up time in your day. And many people, when they do this, they find that every single thing that they've written down on their daily list, right, generally is more hours than what we have in our day. And when we see that, we're like, oh shit, maybe I'm not allowing enough time for myself to have space so that I can be present, because when I'm present, I can then recognize what state I'm living in my nervous system, right? We might be going through our days feeling consistently bloated, not going to the toilet, our skin's breaking out, we are not able to think clearly, right? We are engaged in shitty self-talk and self-sabotage. That is a nervous system that is living in an unregulated state. Right? That's it in a nutshell. Our bodies are our biggest teachers, right? And it's so important to have these discussions, because if we don't slow down, right, and if we don't start to tune into this body, we keep looking externally for these things that are going to fix us and heal us and make things better. Well, I can guarantee you things are just going to continue to stack on, because you have all you need and it's right within you. Your body will tell you when you're starting to tip out of balance simply by looking at it, feeling into it, and coming back to your intuition, because this is where everything happens. If you are experiencing shitty self-talk, judgment, comparison, envy, the need to be right, maybe you feel resentment, then I guarantee you that this, right, your body is living in an unregulated state, because we don't judge, we don't criticize, we do not suppress emotion, we do not feel the need to be right, and we do not have resentment and anger and frustration from a nervous system that's living in a regulated state. So I'm here to share the tools that have been shared to me about how to recognize our body, to tune into our dialogue, and to pay attention to what we're seeing in our world, so that we can then bring ourselves back to safety. Because when we are safe and we feel that we are in a place where we can be ourselves, where we're in a place where we can be authentic, when we are in a place where we can set a boundary and say no, and when we are in a place where we can truly be ourselves, that's where the love happens. And what do we need in this world right now? I think we can all agree that love is the answer moving forward. So if we learn the tools ourselves to bring our nervous system back to a safe space, to recognize that we do not need to close every time we get a text message or a ding on our social media or an email we don't like, or have a meeting with our boss, or go to a family lunch. We do not need to shut down our digestive system just because the moment is hard. I share with you the tools to actually sit within the discomfort and to go, you know what, it's okay. What do I need to do here to let my nervous system know that I'm safe, that I'm okay, and that I can still communicate clearly and look after not only my digestive system, but my mind, and also give permission for another person to do the same. Then that's how we start to return not only yourself, but another person back to a place of love, kindness, and compassion. And I believe that's how we change the world. So why not join me for my first online nervous system workshop Are you living in the red zone? It's on April 26th, 7 p.m., and all are welcome. And I really invite you to share this with your family. Let me know in the comments if this resonates with you. I would love to hear from you, and I'd love to see you on the night.